All right, Eagle Nation, the Birds sitting at 2-2. A lot of nervousness in the fan base right now. We've criticized the defense pretty heavily, wondering if they have enough talent. But on the flip side, the offense has been struggling mightily, and this concerning stat coming out today proves where the real disconnect lies. The question is, can they actually fix it? We'll talk about that. Also, another example from this past week of the defense having a weak mindset, and it starts with things like this. Also, a former Eagle calls for the benching of one of the defensive starters. We'll get into it all, but welcome into A to Z Philly. I'm RB. Thank you all for continuing to support the climb of the channel. Do me a favor, go down below and hit the red subscribe button if you enjoy this video, and help us get to our goal of 6K subscribers. I want to start it off with a question for Eagle Nation. How concerned on a scale from 1 to 10 right now are you about Jalen Hurts? Drop your thoughts down in the comments. Like, is this just a rough patch? Is this just a bad stretch from the end of last season till now? Do you think there's been too much turnover with the coaches and the coordinators? How much of it can you put on Jalen Hurts? As I've said the last couple of weeks, there are no more excuses, right? You can't turn the ball over in these crucial situations. I don't think 100% of it is his fault, but I think when you're paid to be the guy, you just have to be better and step up and be smarter and know when to make plays, when not to make plays. And you really got to take accountability and be the leader on this team. And we can hear the same old things about, I want to get better and I want to do this better. But at some point, you just have to show up and do it. And this stat was put out this morning from Get Up. And they say most combined sacks, interceptions, and fumbles over the last 2 seasons. And Jalen Hurts is number 3 on this list behind Bryce Young, who is now benched in Carolina, and Sam Howell, who has pretty much reverted to just being a career backup. So Jalen Hurts, number 3 on this list. I think it's very concerning, and I think he has to take care of the ball. The rest of his team, his coaches, have to put him in the best situations to succeed, but it's also on Jalen's shoulders. So how much of it are you putting on Jalen right now, and how concerned are you with his play? This concerning stat, though, tells more of the story, and this comes out from Shio Kapadia on the Ringer Philly Special podcast, and I didn't realize it was this bad. I knew it was bad. I was questioning the last couple of weeks, like, why aren't we seeing some of the Kellen Moore integral components of his offense? But per Shio Kapadia, the Eagles have ran 23 total plays under center, and only 6 of play action, both ranked 30th in the league. So they're at the bottom, and it says those numbers reek of a Nick Sirianni-led offense, and that's absolutely not what was advertised in the offseason. So now I'm starting to backtrack in my thoughts, ladies and gentlemen. Is it even on Kellen Moore for the lack of offensive firepower, for the lack of offensive identity? Is it on Nick Sirianni? We remember back in Nick's rookie year when the Eagles were 2-5, he had to give up play calling because he simply could not do it. Shane Steichen was the mastermind, almost in the same way Frank Reich looked like the mastermind of a Doug Peterson offense. And, you know, they bring in Brian Johnson last year, who was a new coordinator, right? You're coming off a Super Bowl appearance, and it did feel like Nick took over the offense. Whereas this offseason, he said, I'm going to step back again because I know I'm not qualified to do this, and I'm going to delegate over to Kellen Moore. That's why you bring in a young offensive mind. So are they even running Kellen Moore's offense? This tells me no. This tells me no. It's a Nick Sirianni issue. And then I start to think, is it a Jeff Lurie, Howie Roseman issue? We know these guys love to throw the ball. We know they want to play cute. They don't want to hand it off to Saquon, even though he's the best damn player on the team. And it's very intriguing to think about how week 1 they come out, score 34 points. I know they have more weapons, but just because you lose a couple guys doesn't mean your whole offense should go down the tubes. But you go out week 1, they started on the first drive of the season under center, running play action, and then poof, out of nowhere, it works, it goes away. Something is going on behind the scenes here, and I agree with Kendall. This does start to remind you that this is Nick Sirianni's offense. Now, a report did come out this past off season, and they bring it up again here on SportsIllustrated.com, that Philly did consider, or at least quote unquote pondered, getting Bill Belichick in the building, and those talks have kind of emerged again over the last week. I don't think they're going to do it. I don't think they ever will. They don't want to hire an established, proven coach. They always go for the last guy on the totem pole. They don't go for the proven guy, and I don't think it will ever happen. Maybe they could bring him in, but then again, nobody else wanted Bill Belichick, so why would you do it at this point? And it says, then again, this season was never going to be about the opponent or the talent, says Tim McManus. It's about whether the team could properly get off the mat after imploding down the stretch last season and how well they would handle adversity when it inevitably hit in 2024. And I agree with that. Like I said, it's hard for me to think that players can come back from quitting on a coach. In this situation, it's uncharted territory, so you're willing to give it a shot. But right now, they're not playing inspired. They're not playing like they want to go out there and win. There just doesn't feel like there's a lot of accountability. And in terms of Nick Sirianni, he talked about what he is looking for over the bye week and what the coaches have been working on. Here's what he says, quote, I know one thing we can say is our identity as a football team that we talk about a ton is the team, our accountability, our detail, and our toughness that we're constantly trying to work on and become better at all times. The coaches spent the bye week mining through the first 4 games, looking for any possible edge that could be gleaned and implemented once the players return from bye week and begin preparation for the Browns. Quote, you went on a collection of plays, not just one play. And I think that's something that we've got to put our head down and just grind to make sure we're fixing all the mistakes, because you never know when that play is going to be. You never know when that turnover is going to be. Now, I agree with everything he's saying here. Sounds great. Sounds lovely. Sounds like the freaking car salesman who tries to gas you up knowing that you're still going to pay 50 grand out of pocket because you don't want to go and negotiate. Listen, man, this is BS. This all sounds polished. It sounds beautiful. When are they going to actually do these things? That's what I'm wondering. They said this every week last year, even when they were winning and it was so ugly. Well, we're winning, right? Then they start to lose. Oh, well, we're going to fix the mistakes. We're going to get better each week. You have a bye week right now. So yeah, you can look at all the film and the little mistakes and try to fix those things. Here's one thing. Tell your damn defensive coordinator to blitz. How about you run the ball to start the game? How about the fact you haven't scored one single point in the first quarter? That's unacceptable. But the thing that really puzzles me is he says that we're trying to constantly, find our identity, our accountability, detail, and work on and become better. That should be honed in by now. That should be zeroed in on and locked in. We don't need to get better at toughness. You just need to go out there and be tough. Either you believe in yourself or you don't. And one thing that happened the other day, which is being surfaced on the internet right now, once again tells me that this team has a weak mindset. And I do think it starts with Nick Sirianni. But anyway, here's what happened the other day. The mic'd up footage comes out, and I'm not going to play the clip due to copyright, but essentially, Avonte Maddox goes up to Mike Evans, and he's talking about video games, okay? So he says, do you still be gaming? And then he says, we have to get on there one more time. And he's talking about Fortnite, which is a video game. So while you're getting your ass whooped, you're out there asking Mike Evans about video games and can we game, right? We already know the Darius Slay stuff, and we'll get to a little more on that in just a minute. But Avonte Maddox, do you care that you're getting ripped apart? That you're getting shredded? This is unacceptable. Now, on the other hand, rookie Quinyon Mitchell, who's only been in the league for 4 games, doesn't back down. And this is why I really think this kid's going to be a star, and I like this guy. He goes up to Mike Evans, who is a proven future Hall of Famer, and says, how many catches do you have? You've got 1 catch, and that's it. And they go back and forth. And Quinyon's like, yeah, you think you don't know who I am? I don't know who you are. You're nothing to me. I can stick you. Quinyon Mitchell was giving him that sneaky trash talk, that sneaky swagger that I was talking about a couple weeks ago. And he's out there looking him dead in the eye, saying, you don't scare me. That is the type of mentality that this defense needs to have. And it feels like only a handful of players have it. So it's just getting really frustrating at this point. I think Maddox should be benched. And I think Darius Slay should be benched, right? He apologizes to Eagle fans for his charades the other day, including blocking a ton of them. And he says, quote, I'm with y'all. We're one. We can't have this divide. Yes, is the guy who went on there and started blocking Eagle fans after he posted his own stat line, by the way. And then he says this in terms of more stuff about Micah Parsons, pretty much saying that they have a great relationship and their families sit together. And he says, it's a real beef. It's real beef. I'm not like a real controversial type of person. I'm cool with everybody. I know y'all don't like that. I know y'all don't like that because that's not the Philly style. But that's how I was raised. I treat people how I want to be treated. I just treat people with respect. You could treat people with respect, Darius. You could treat people nicely and kindly. At the end of the day, this is our division rival. We're not saying you got to go out there and talk smack and hate the guy. Speaking of which, you didn't even address the fact that you roasted your own teammate. It just feels like his ego is very inflated, and this leads to former Eagle Seth Joyner calling for the benching of Darius Slay. He says, quote, all this bravado, I have no words for the Cowboy thing. It speaks for itself. That's just a cardinal sin. You don't do that kind of stuff. I think the Eagles, it's time. I believe that you've got some really good young corners, and you need to play them. At the end of the day, Darius Slay is 34 years old, and right now he's one of the worst statistical corners in the league this season. Still think he's a good player, but Seth is right. You got Quinyon out there on an island trying to prove his worth. You have DeJean who's working his way up. You're going to get Sidney Brown back. You have Keely Ringo. You have other guys out here who are young, hungry, and motivated, and they're not going to pull all the antics like this. So if it happened, I wouldn't be mad right now. They need a switch up. They need some kind of interjecting of life. They need guys who are going to go out there and hit somebody and be mad about it, not ask them if they're going to get on PlayStation tonight. So anyway, those are my thoughts. Give me all of yours down below in the comments section. As always, appreciate everybody for tapping in. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. That being said, I'll catch you on the next one. Also, real quick, let's go ahead and give a shout out to our sponsor of today's video. It is the great BetMGM. Enjoy all your favorite sports like never before at BetMGM. Sign up using our code ATOZPA and get up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if you do not win your first bet. When you register with BetMGM, you'll get instant access to parlays, live bets, player props, and daily boosted odds specials. And with BetMGM at your fingertips, every play and every game matter more than ever. So sign up today with the bonus code ATOZPA and get up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if you do not win your first bet. Brought to you by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. Download the app today. Please gamble responsibly.